Thanks for tuning in to Gin and Tantra, Spirituality with a Twist. I like to make mistakes at certain points. It's like it takes the pressure off. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We have with us once again, friend of the show, contributor, Faydra, Faydra the Extraordinaire.
Hello,
Episode we did before was
extraordinaire. Ooh.
yeah, episode we did before was I think that we called it the unicorn, something like this.
Evolution of the
There
unicorn.
we go. Yes, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was done kind of like mid late last year, if I remember, maybe in the fall or something like this. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. And if you have seen it, welcome back and thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here. Yeah, for sure. So Phaedra, thanks for being here. And we have been Eric and I have been having this discussion around, well, obviously we're kind of diving into like Kama Sutra, Karma Mudra, but then also relationship talk has been building, really over the last year around these kind of
Yeah.
sexualized practices, the alchemical transformation via desire and connection. And in part of that discussion, we have been recently been talking about attachment. And so the episodes that we did just recently were attachment from the kind of Buddhist philosophical perspective, and the upcoming episodes that we're going to have are going to be psychological, like Western psychology
Mm.
descriptions of attachment theory. Um, However, I wanted to have a little bit more, not a more tangible conversation, but something of a lived experience. We all have experience with attachment, but specifically from your experience and of course mine as well. But given that you have you live in the, if I could say like the, like ethical non-monogamous space, which is
Yes.
obviously not just you.
Right. Right.
Um, and so I wanted, because I feel like, and I'm going to ask you this, like, I feel like there are, most of our culture is monogamous. This is the major, I'll say
A large
85%
portion. Yeah.
for sure are this way. And there's
Or they
nothing,
think that they are.
though they think that they are, right? They think that they
They're
are.
trying to be.
And they say anywhere between 25 and 75% of people cheat. So, like, not,
Right.
so that's non-ethical,
Yeah.
right? So, given that you're in that space and with other people, I think one of the things that people talk about when they're like, "Oh, I could never do that," then they give the reason why they can't do that, right? I don't have
Right.
enough time. I can barely keep one person happy. I don't want to share my blank. You know what I'm saying? And they feel the kind of like, I don't want to say jealousy, but they feel the inklings of jealousy even before the stuff occurs. And
Yeah.
so I thought that it would be a fun discussion to talk with you about this. So I gave us a little bit of a lead in. I'll ask questions and whatever, but I wanted to give you a little bit of space to speak.
Sure. Well, thanks for having this conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that now it's been, yeah, for whatever time we were talking before, there was a whole lot there. And so I've definitely evolved a lot from that evolution of unicorn. I've evolved again
Oh,
into ENM/solo poly, which is huge when it comes to attachment, right? Because solo poly, like I'm my favorite person. Well, that's like the easiest way to say it. But solo
sure.
poly, like it's me. Like I'm about me. And I'm a reformed attachment person. I'll tell you that. Like I for um the the greatest, or not the greatest years, but for the majority of the years of my life, I would
Yeah.
say have created very unhealthy attachments to people.
Mm.
Whether they be friends, lovers, all the things, is that I think when you talk about attachment, it's interesting because, especially unhealthy attachments, it's a need that like you're finding something. When you think about like those little fishies that attach themselves to a whale, it's not because
Oh
they
yeah.
love that whale. It's not
Yeah.
because they need that whale for
Right.
sustenance,
Yes.
for to take them for food, for life, all these things.
Yeah.
And so I kind of feel like when we talk about attachment in like a negative sense or a need-based sense, that's where it starts. And it's hard to spot, attachment in that way. And in an E&M or poly world, it's
E&M
really
being E&M, maybe,
yeah, ethically non-monogamous.
yes, yes.
It's it's um it's funny because I've heard many horror stories in this lifestyle now over the last year or two. Um, Especially like unicorns or single women or single men, which it can be too,
Hmm.
um, how they get attached to partners or couples or whatever it is. And in this world, attachment is hard because if one is attaching and another one, like there's so much communication and need for talking. And if you aren't someone else that can't communicate, it makes it even harder because um, there's still feelings of
Mm.
love, desire. We're all human. And so we find people that have the same desire for freedom and autonomy.
Yeah, yep.
But that doesn't mean that in this desire for that, you're not going to meet someone that you are like, oh, that maybe brings out the attachment part
So
where,
so
go
I'm going
ahead.
to ask you, okay, we have various experiences, in relationship, right? And you
Mhm.
have experiences in this, non-monogamous space. And because of that, I'm going to ask, do you think, and based on what you've seen, that even people who are trying not to be attached, right? Or attached just for the moment, right? Or just for that
Yeah.
that time. Do you think that attachment is something, again, from your experience, is
Mhm.
something that happens to you or is a natural product of connection? And then based on that answer, how
Mhm.
how is it that you navigate, and then how is it that you've seen others navigate?
Okay. So what I hear from you, you're asking me, is attachment something that is happening to me or someone, and then the navigation between like on how I feel about the first answer, and how that's navigated with people that I know of. Uh,
Let me say,
is that right?
yeah,
Did I
so
clarify that right?
yeah, so like, is it, do you believe it's something that happens to you, or is it a natural product of connection? Right? Or
Mm-hmm.
both, of
Okay.
course. And then
Yeah.
navigating that. And why I say that is because sometimes I feel like some people, when they start to like someone and they get attached to them, it's almost like they don't intend on that to happen.
Right.
It
Right.
just
Right.
kind of
Right. That's fair.
it kind of comes up. And if you compare this to like traditional dating, right, where in monogamous
Hmm.
relationships, people are looking for it. They're trying, I'm not gonna say they're trying to force it, but they're like hoping that it
Just
happens.
that one person that fulfills all their needs. Like that
Yes.
one person, you like a myriad of shit, and yet one person is going to make all that happen. But anyways, we're not
Yeah.
talking about that.
Yeah.
But that's how
So
I feel about that.
yes, yes.
Okay, so when it comes down to the idea of it happening to us,
Hmm.
attachment,
Hmm.
I don't know if because I always think about now, I've been doing a lot of everything, like whether it's studying or just reading or listening, about things like happening to us. And when it comes to attachment, attachment is us. Like each person solely, it's not happening to us. It's our own shit. That
Yeah.
because we're attaching to someone, no matter how someone reacts to us or what they're giving us in the moment, the love, and there's so many words now, right? Like love bombing, all those like terms these days that now there's names for, which before back in the day it was just like, oh, that guy was a dick. It's like, no, now there's like terms, or that girl was, well, whatever. Now there's terms for all these things that men and
Yeah.
women do to each other, right?
Yeah.
So the attachment is something that I feel, in my opinion, that is born from our insecurity. And this
Mm.
is what we provide, or this is how we project our own insecurity and unlove for ourselves is by attaching to someone that is providing what we need in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
or that time of our life. So I don't have I don't have love for myself, or I don't think I'm this way and I'm lacking in the ways that I think about myself in these categories. You are providing a lot of um, validity, and you're providing all this stuff. So now you're giving me what I need. Now I'm
Mm.
attached to that.
Mm.
Like, and you could be a person, this person that's providing those like things that are really like firing up those needs could also be terrible and everything else that is necessary to make a relationship work, but it doesn't matter because the part of me that is in need of fulfillment of those lesser things,
Yeah.
I'm attached now. And so
Yeah.
friends are like, why are you, he's doing this, or she's doing that, and da da
Right.
da da. But it doesn't matter. I'm attached to the fulfillment that you give me in those words and those validations. And that's how I feel about attachment. So I don't think it's something that's happening to us. It's us seeking and latching on
So it
and then
seems,
bringing it.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
But what you hear,
it seems a little bit as if you feel attachments are unhealthy.
I agree. Yes, I do think attachment is unhealthy.
Okay.
Love and respect, and I guess what I'm trying to think what the other word is. I think
Bonding.
bonding, love. What's another? So there's bonding, and there's
There's communion,
yes,
partner,
connecting,
connecting,
bonding, and
partnership.
connecting, partnership. Yes, all those words I think are like really healthy. Um, Attachment is not a very, in my own world, in my own knowledge, and what I've seen from what attachment is. And I guess there might be healthy attachments.
Right. I mean,
I'm just,
we're playing with semantics. I'm talking about the idea
yeah,
of conglomeration. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Of union of some type. And what you're saying is that like you feel like many of the unions that you see are
Yeah.
unhealthy because somebody is coming into it from a place of deficiency, of lack.
Deficiency. Great.
And that their partner, male, female, male, male, doesn't matter,
No.
is fulfilling their deficiencies with their whatever, their love, their presence,
hmm
their energy, their giving, their caring, whatever. And that it's creating a bond based on one having and one not having, and then they form this kind of,
Right.
connection via this. And
Right.
your stance is more along the lines of like love doesn't hold.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we can take that
Yep.
absolutely. And so there's love, connection, all these things. So you have someone who may not be, they may be so really self-aware and very under, like knowing, hey, I get it. I know that I may not think the highest part of me and these things. While I like really appreciate you validating this, there's still other ways that we are giving back and forth. I think with attachment, there's not really a whole lot of equality
Sure.
in the energies given. And
But
so
but
yeah, but there might be attachments, different attachments. So both people are attaching on different levels because like one
right.
person can validate this. And so while that can be great for a long time or a seemingly long time or a short time, I think it's still very toxic
Sure.
and it will show up in a different way.
But it can still happen even when you're trying to intentionally be ethically non-monogamous.
Oh, yeah. Because a lot of people in non-monogamy aren't self-aware. They're doing this on other reasons that aren't for them.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna come there. I'm gonna just say from my side, I
hmm
like to think that our our communion, our connections, our relationships, our bonds, our attachments, um, like similar to what you said, but they bring about and when healthy, they bring about something from us. They awaken something within us. They
Yep.
that love changes or awakens an aspect that we did not have conscious access to before that person was around us. And then when we connect or come into communion, whether physical or not or whatever, but when you
Right.
start to engage with that person, it draws something up from you. It pulls something up from you and it gets you to be in a more playful state, in a happier state, in a whatever state. And then if you immediately associate those feelings with, and you bond it to that person, that is the part that can be damaging because then you don't realize it's your own experience. Yes, they're related to you and that you have to have the two pieces in order for that to arise, but it is arising from you. It was already there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yes. So
That sounds great.
I agree. Yeah. So that's kind of like my side. Okay, so now we're in this idea of like being aware of our energy, being aware of our feelings, and consciously trying to not be attached, not be detached, because we're in a relation, ethically non-monogamous folks are dating just like everybody else is dating.
Totally.
They're doing their thing, whatever. But they're also enjoying their time, but then not like not holding on to that person, side by side, like in a relationship. Or how would you describe it?
So here's the thing. There's different dynamics when it comes to E&M because, well, and do can I go through some of those dynamics?
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with in my experience now, you have because E&M for those who and there's been some backlash on the word E&M because people are like, well, non-monogamy should just be ethics. Like, why should we have to say ethically? I'm like, I was born a female. Why should I have to say I'm cis female? We don't have to go into that, but like that's how I feel sometimes. Like, why do we have to add words? Well, this is what it is. This is the time we're living in. We have to add words to make it a thing.
Yeah, but
And so,
words have energy behind them. And
yeah.
so I mean, basically what you're saying is like, don't expect me to be your only girlfriend and you are not my only boyfriend. However, if we're together, we are together.
So, and yeah. And so for me right now, like in my own experience, yes, I date. I date couples and I have a partner and, so on and so on. And so for me, it's like I'm present with you. I want to share my things with you. And I want to make sure like my sexual health is up, like is I'm sexually healthy, I'm emotional healthy,
Yeah.
and that is, of the utmost importance. So um when it comes down to couples, for example, you've got the couples that will only play with other people, them together. You
Hmm.
have couples where one of the people plays, well, they both play together, but then they're both able to play separate. Then you have couples that like one of them is like, I'm just happy with you, but you go do your thing,
Yes, yes, I've heard of this. I've
you
heard it
know?
more recently. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I can't give you all you need. And that's what I was kind of like saying before is that one person, like, you need more than I can give you. And I'm
Right.
so secure in ours. And as long as I know and you tell me everything that's going on, I trust that you're going to come home and this is going to actually make our relationship better
Yeah.
because you're getting all that other stuff out of the way. But also understanding that, and I've seen this where that extracurricular partner,
Yeah.
because we're human and feelings happen. And so it's not always going to be that easy. Well, just because I'm giving you the freedom to be with someone else doesn't mean that you're not going to fall in love or
Correct.
find that your needs are better met.
And if I
So
can
there's
if I can add then to that, there are there are other permutations, and I'm not going to go into the which genders or
no,
whatever do this because I
right.
don't, I don't care. But there are tendencies for people to be physically allow their partners to be physically intimate with others,
Sure.
but
But
not
no.
emotionally intimate.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
that is the line. Okay,
Yep.
other people, no physical intimacy, but totally allow them to be as emotionally intimate as they want.
Totally.
And
And you're right.
these are kind of like really big and I'm learning, as time goes on.
Yeah. And
And
it's huge.
what's interesting though is even though they have those openness, all right? And so it's like for some of the maybe the guys who are listening, they're like, you could, yeah, dude, you could bang whoever you want. But you know what ends up happening? Those people still end up hiding things. Even though they have full range to do what they want, it doesn't matter. They still hide. You know,
Yeah.
And that's the attachment part. It's like there
Right.
almost has to be some kind of like drive. Like in order to really, I don't know because I'm not in this world, but like I would imagine in order to be like fully in it, it has to be consistent work on embracing the moment and embracing the relationship outside of the context of everything else. Because
Yeah.
it's certainly hotter if it's hidden, but what about
Mhm.
when it's not hidden and everybody knows? Does it maintain the same intensity? You know what I'm saying? And
Oh, yeah.
can you tell your partner? Can you revel in your partner's pleasure and be happy for them that like, oh, how was your night tonight? Oh, well, you know how it is. No, tell me.
Right, right,
I want to know exactly how it was because it kind of like it turns me on or whatever that person,
right. Full
whatever.
compersion, which is
Yeah.
the term. Like compersion is the term of, you find complete joy and satisfaction in knowing that your partner, in whatever sense, is happy with another person or another
Yeah.
people, everything, which I love that word. I think it's amazing. And I'm quite the compersion person. And so for what you were saying about, um, the talking and being open with the person, um, I think, and we touched on this our last podcast, is just I didn't have a voice because I didn't know myself, and
Yeah.
I was always scared of hurting
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
and like disappointing, and not even hurt. It was like the disappointment and the hurt and all those things that come along with being honest sometimes. Honey, I'm just like,
Yeah.
here's all my shit. Like
Yeah.
I'm so transparent now that it's probably too much. And so I have to ask. I'm always in my life right now with my partners. I said, okay, is it okay if I share this with you? Do you want to hear this? What is your capacity to take what I want to tell you right
Sure.
now? Like
Yeah.
where are
Yeah.
you at? And it's a day-to-day thing
Yeah.
because it's not just like what's going to be your capacity from now until forever. Every day it's going to be different. And for, yeah, like you were saying, with guys that are just like, yeah, this is going to be great. We're just going to like be whatever. No, because not only now do you have to communicate with your wife or husband or whatever your
Yeah. Yeah.
sexual
Yeah.
orientation is, but you have to communicate with them, but also everyone else, unless you've created the um like your life to be like, I'm going to be on the spectrum where I really don't need to share. Good luck then, because I mean, there's plenty of people that are just like, hey,
Oh
I'm really
yeah.
private. We don't share. Like, this is it. Like, my wife or husband, they're just like, you can do your thing, but I don't, it's don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
It's all these
Right.
things. That's totally not how I am. I'm very open with everyone because I'm definitely looking for quality, not quantity. And I need people to be honest with me
Yeah.
because there's just a whole like level of that, like a level of just respect for myself.
Yeah.
And it's not a free for all. Like it's great to meet people, but it's not like, hey babe, come over. I've never met you. It's like, no,
Right.
no. Like I have to respect myself and everyone else going with it. So when it comes to attachment, and you had said earlier something about just letting people, like, you don't have to be attached. I can be, you know, I can have this love for the people that I'm partnered with. There's like a love there. And falling in love. It's a true thing. We really can have that. And there's a security in that. Um, and there's an openness because, and then there's that respect that comes with that love, and that they can love others, and that
Hmm.
I can love others. And the understanding is that, like, love isn't just, I only am in love with you. And
Right.
so I
Yeah.
only can be with you. And
Yes.
you're my world and my sun and my moon. And I have to
Yeah.
do all this for you. It's like, I don't, I believe that there's people that works for, and it's wonderful. And those are our grandparents and our parents. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
so
Well, we don't.
and I'd be remiss if I hear Eric's voice in my head, right, which we've talked about before numerous
Yeah,
times, but
yeah.
just to kind of, rehash some of the things, right? So like Esther Perel, who
Mm.
talks about,
She's my, oh,
yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, she talks about this very openly, and they're kinds of like she has a spectrum of people, but on the two ends is exclusivists and
Yeah.
uniqueness people.
Yep. Yep.
Exclusiveness folk are who you're talking about. And it's like our love exists because we're in a closed container. There is this
Yep.
what do you want? A loop. The loop is closed.
The,
One,
the loop is
yeah.
closed. Yep.
Right.
It's just
One
two rubber
positive, one
bands together.
negative. Yeah, that's right. And that's on one end. And then, of course, there's a spectrum. And then on the
Sure.
other end is probably we could say maybe in like the idealistic, ethical, non-monogamous folk who is like, our love exists because it's unique to us. And then
100%.
and then my love exists with this one because it's unique to us and it's unique to us and it's unique to us and it's unique and that's how it depending on how much time and money you have, you could keep going with that.
So,
Like,
right. But it's also like the idea, and that's something that it's helped me with in this world is just being able to be present with that person or people that I'm with. It's not just about the intimacy of like,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
intimacy, sexual intimacy, whatever. It's about the what we call the vanilla things. And vanilla would be like the hanging out, the going out to a fun thing. It's about, for me, in my experience, it's the friendships, it's the connecting. And this is why I realize gotten so much out of attachment because I'm not looking, this is a funny story. So after we did the evolution of unicorn, my godmother called me and was very worried about me.
Oh,
So, yeah. So she was like, "So I accidentally came across your podcast and I'm a little worried." And
accidentally? That's funny.
it was, yeah, accidentally because she thought it was another podcast or another something that I put up and she clicked on the wrong link. Anyways, and I told her, I said, "Here's the thing. I'm like, my cup is so full because I filled it. I'm
Mm.
full of the love and joy for myself right now that it is my latte is all the way my mocha is all the way to the top. And all these other relationships that I'm having right now, it's like the whipped cream, the cherries, the caramel, the whatever sauces that you want to put on it. They're making my life more enjoyable.
Mm.
And where like another past version of myself was like so half full because I only have the capacity for that. I could only give myself so much because of my limiting beliefs and how I viewed myself, the shame, the guilt, all these things that in the last, 5 to 10 years I've worked on. I'm figuring out why that even started.
Yeah.
Um, and so now um, I'm able to fully be present and love people in different ways because love just doesn't mean one thing to me. Love doesn't just mean one thing. I don't love you because of this or you because of that. There's
Right.
just like there's different ways to love, and I find it so freeing and just it makes me happy to be able to say that and to
Mm.
be freely open with that and to say it and like mean it, not because now I'm attached to you, now we're bound together and I cannot ever love anyone else, but to be understood and seen as someone that can say I love you and know that I do, and all these things that we experience together makes me love you more, and that's unique to you and to
Right.
me.
Right. Right.
And you're not having this experience with anyone else. Like I know what I'm bringing to the table,
Yeah.
someone else is not giving in that to you. And what you
Correct.
bring to me, and then we're not worried about
Right.
the next, like another person that you can also say that you love,
Right. Well,
that they're bringing a whole experience
it's
to.
not a competition.
No, not at all. And
It's
I'm
not
competitive as fuck, Daniel.
right. But I mean, it's like you go
Like
to a
not in this world.
you go to a buffet and you're like, ooh, there's all these things to try. You're not like, oh God, this rotisserie chicken is trash. I need the lettuce. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like, okay.
Yeah,
So
right. Right.
let me shift a little bit, okay, into like maybe something a little bit more tangible for you or for someone whom you know or whatever,
Sure.
right? So, okay, you're practicing this this way of being, right? And you have different people who you engage with and whatever, right? We don't have to go into all that. But
Yeah,
yourself or someone who you may know personally, who you've been in a relationship with, or someone who you know just in the community, friends,
sure.
you know, A, how do you work on this non-attachment place? Because I think it has to be worked on personally. And B, uh, what does it look like when it arises, and how is that, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What is the work in this? And I will say, tangentially, um, people do say that I ask good questions, and I'm like, well, I've been doing this now for a number of years, so I'm like, I'm totally like, I haven't, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, you're a good storyteller and you're a good like story creator as
you got
well.
to do one, it helps to be the other, you know?
No, which is why I'm always like I always love being like talking to you because you have good questions.
Thanks, yeah.
And that was a good one because it's right. You're right. Like any relationship, it's work. And so is being in the realm of attachment and not being attached. And I'm a Scorpio, or I'm Scorpio Sag. So Scorpios are like the most jealous, worst beings in the world, and we will sting you, right? So I'm dealing with that. And I'm not gonna say that. I was just telling my partner this the other day. I still am jealous. Like I'm a jealous person, and I'm very territorial. Like so.
And
You
yet,
can say they're like, then how are you dealing with this? And
I
I'll
was gonna
tell
say,
you.
how does
How?
that jive when you have high levels of compersion also?
Right? So I thought about this recently in the last year. I'm like, how do I? Well, here's the thing. Um, I've become and worked on being my own. And this is first off, I worked and become so confident in myself and what I can bring to a relationship. I've gotten past, and I think I just said this, like I've gotten past my limiting beliefs. I've gotten past the things that I didn't like about myself that I saw that were less than. And like you said, I while I'm still a competitive person, when it comes to love and relationships, um, it's I've found my peace. I'm also the person that wants to hear all about it because I'm nosy. I want to hear all about what you did when you were talking earlier, when you're just like, hey, how was last night? And some people are like, oh, it was great. I'm like, I don't know. Can you please be more
Right,
specific? And
right,
I
right,
want to
right.
hear it, not because I want to be like downing myself or I want to compare, but
Yeah,
it turns me on, right? Like
yeah.
me hearing how much fun you had last night with another human is something that is beautiful for me. And I actually find it like
Effective.
pleasurable.
Yeah.
Um, and so for for the last couple of years, learning that because I wasn't always like that. And I'm territorial. Like if I'm gonna hang out with a friend and I hear that that friend invited another friend, I'm like, no, no, this is my time with you. Like I don't want to share it. Um, but that's just and I'm okay with that. I don't like sharing my time like with people all the time.
So
Um,
how do you deal with that in their, you know,
oh,
romantic
because we've talked
entanglements?
about it and it's something that we've come together like to do it. I love watching and being like I love the idea of watching my partner be like happy and enjoying him or herself. Like I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And in turn, like that happens with me too. So it's been a whirlwind because I've always thought of myself, like I just said, as a jealous, territorial person.
Yeah.
And while I still have that tendencies in some parts of my life, when it comes to intimacy and just this idea of non-monogamy, I learned that in that realm, I love my freedom. And sometimes it's hard. I'll be very honest. There's times like when I'm PMSing and hormones are like not normal. Oh. that is still a hard time for me because my brain isn't functioning. I mean, women hormonally, like we're not in our
I'm
right
not going
mind.
there. I'm not saying anything about everybody has their own, no, definitely not. So
All right, okay.
we
So
talk about lots of things. We talk about lots of
you
things,
do
but
not talk about women and their hormones. We can talk
but
about that at some point.
yeah, yeah, not
I
on
will
here.
give
I'm
you,
not
I'll say it. Yeah.
for
It's
sure
like,
not.
don't talk about my mom, but I can talk about my mom.
Exactly.
Um, so,
Well, Phaedra, let me okay, so I'm wanting let me be more specific as to what I want here, right?
okay,
So a little bit meta.
sure.
We are doing, this year in particular, this podcast is becoming more present in my life. I am putting
Yep.
more effort into it. I'm wanting to grow it, and there is a reason. And I was able to talk about this reason earlier with a friend of ours, and that it is I am a student, you are a student. I think everybody is a student in some fashion.
Yeah.
It's just some people accept that role more or less, right? And you said that
Yep.
I can ask good questions and tell good stories. I am a
Yep.
student, therefore I am a teacher as well. But I'm all
Yep.
equally a student. It just depends on if I'm listening or if I'm talking, right?
Sure.
That's how, okay. And so because of this, I am wanting to really kind of like intentionally bring forth the sort of internal awareness process to the
Yeah.
level of consciousness so that it is not something that relies on unspoken communication for people to feel or worry about or understand. So with that being said, and so I'm wanting to do that on a grander scale. I want to make meditation sexy. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do. I want to make meditation as sexy as plant medicine. And plant medicine is still nowhere near its peak,
No.
nowhere
Yep.
near its peak. Okay,
Mhm.
I want because meditation is difficult and it's a daily thing, and it's not just sitting and staring at the wall or closing your
Mhm.
eyes or whatever. It's the when I say meditation, I talk about reflection and change. So I'm talking about
Yep.
cultivation. So what I'm asking you, with all of that being said, okay, intentionally, right, ethically non-monogamous. With all of that as the lead in, I am specifically asking when you butt up against attachment feelings or
Okay.
right, and maybe you're better about it now, but how did you deal with that? Or maybe when you're like you said, when you're PMSing, how do you internally work through those things so that it doesn't become something that is a detriment to your connection with somebody or with yourself or with the lifestyle that you enjoy living? Because I would imagine that you feel, yes, happy seeing other people, hearing about other people's experiences and seeing them happy, but then like you said, you're also a territorial and competitive person. And I think
Hmm.
that's part of our nature in some way, right? So I'm
Yeah.
asking, how do you cultivate a sense of like non-attachment without coldness,
Right.
i.e., a healthy bond that keeps you connected with that person and connected with the relationship, but also not so engaged that it puts you in an unhealthy place and makes it difficult to
Yeah.
continue.
Thank you for that. That was a very good clarification and deeper level of, the surface level answer that I gave before. So thank you. Or just kind of the like common denominator level.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me take a second. I was trying to listen and not like get into my stuff, but I think for me, the change that I've gone through over the years of coming from someone that would like be more jealous is it all it all boils down to the communication between me and my partner. It
Mm,
all boils down to how we share our experiences. It really, for me, the personal work that I do is just being
not
super
just.
confident in myself and not
Yep.
being, yeah, it's me loving myself.
Got
It's
it.
me being comfortable in my own skin, being comfortable with my body, being comfortable and knowing that I'm like my best friend. I'm my best. I love myself so much more than I ever have now. And it's delightful. It's just it brings me joy to like look at myself not just be like, I love you, Phaedra, but be like, bitch, you fucking great. Like, you
Yeah.
just keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Your light is luminous. Like, you are shining and keep that going.
Yeah.
And so I think
I
for
took
me,
that for
as
myself right there.
good, shit, boom, it's all for you, baby. There you
Yeah.
go.
So
And
if I could say, so then you kind of have like self-acceptance as your means of
so
freedom.
much, so much.
Okay.
And so that I think, and once again, that's on anyone else that's
Yeah.
listening. That's on y'all. Like
Yeah.
that is not something anyone can do for you. I don't care like the amount of talk therapy you do, the amount of any kinds of things that you do, it's just going to hit one day.
Yeah.
And it's an everyday work. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
coming into this, um, it's E&M is not easy because you're going to meet people that your partner likes that you don't and that you like and your partner doesn't. So it's going to be this and that. And if you're by yourself, you're going to be hit with like, it's even, it's more stressful than just being monogamous. But it's worth it.
Yikes.
It's worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's worth it if so my top two values is freedom and autonomy.
Yeah.
And this is the life and I get to be so honest, so open, so free with like how listen, oh, this is not what you like. Well, this is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I expect. You can't give me that. Okay, thank you. You're wonderful, but bye. I don't have to be in this relationship with you. I'm not selling, I'm not lowering my vibration to be with you because you're giving me attention. It's just
Right.
not happening.
Right.
I'm very happy right now with what I have going on. And so anyone that wants to be part of my life, I vibrate very high. So if you're not at least kind of flowing with that or
Sure.
you're looking for that, like that doesn't work with me. And I'm so like pussy centric right now. If she's not happy with what you're doing and she's like, girl, oh, no, I listen to her every day. And if she's not happy with someone, then I'm not happy with them. I'm not letting you infiltrate me
Sure.
because I think you're hot or I think that like you have potential. And
Yeah.
that's a big thing too. I don't live on potential anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
Yeah. Yeah.
you that's a huge thing, I think, especially with dating apps. We
That's
talk about
all
that.
over. That's all over the place, right?
Oh my God. Oh, well, he has or she has the potential. No, honey, you can bring your potential to somebody else. I am not looking for potential. I'm looking for like what you are bringing right
It's
now.
also unrealistic to expect that someone's going to evolve into something else. You're not accepting who they are at the moment. Of course, love, what do they say? Like, love is like glasses that cover. There's a nice sentence that I
Yeah,
forgot how it goes, but love basically smooths out all the imperfections.
sure.
Um, but focusing on someone's potential doesn't focus on who they are right now. You're only seeing the certain things. So kind of as we move to conclusion here,
Yeah.
I do want to ask. Okay, so yourself, you use self-acceptance, and I'm sure that within the title of self, I don't mean to do air quotes, but we're going to just underline, yeah. But within the title, within the description of self-acceptance, there's probably some self-talk and positive self things that like you're enough, you know, you're
Right.
good, this
Yep.
is awesome, all this is
And
cool.
people like you. Yes,
Yeah.
that whole
Okay. And so then, okay, so that's for you. But now let's say you have obviously friends who are in this similar community,
Yeah.
this non-monogamous community. I'm positive you have had conversations about people saying that like they're starting to catch feelings.
Yes.
How let you know with the time that we have remaining,
Yeah.
how do how do you navigate those and I'm asking because I'm positive that if I was listening to this, that's what I would want to know for sure.
Right. So quickly when it comes to catching feelings. Um, so first of all, I really try to only date couples that are married
Mhm.
because and that have a very and that have been doing this for a little bit of a like for a
Sometimes.
while.
Yeah.
And they have like they know what they do. Um, um I have been in situations where I feel that I won't date people like if I think that one is hotter than the other, um, I won't date either of them. I won't be a part of that. Like, because clearly the way my energy is, I can't hide. Like I'm
Yeah.
open, so like my shit shows. If I like one person more than the other, it's gonna come out in a way that, and I don't want to be that person. In other situations, I just if I'm finding that there's more attention from one or the other, because it's usually always uh we always do like a triad, like text thread, let's say.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes they're like it's very honest. Like one person's like, hey, he or she's gonna text you. I'm usually just too busy or I don't want to text. And that's fine. Catching feelings when it comes on like a solo level where I'm just dating one person. Um, if I'm not feeling it, then I'll let them know that, hey, this is where I'm at with you, and this is what I can provide for you, and this is where it'll stop. And if you have a hard time being able to accept this where I'm at, then that's cool. But this is all I can give you. This is all I can provide for you. And so you're either gonna be at my level, or we'll just like we'll be friends or whatever. Like, and friends now, what does that even mean? Like, I know how you feel, you know how I feel. And so if it's not equal, then it's going to be really hard to be friends. So the whole line of we can be friends is kind of not really truthful. But I think there's in ways if you share common interests, yeah, like let's go see a show, let's go, see music or have tea and catch up. And that would be like a friend zone type of thing. I've done that recently where someone was like feeling me and I just was like, no, but we'll have coffee sometimes and he'll still like share all of his crazy freaking adventures with me and it's hysterical. And he'll call me for advice. Um, and I found someone that's like special, but like I had no desire to be in a like an intimate relationship with him, but he's like been a great friend.
Hmm.
So there is that. There's a possibility for that. So that's yeah. So yeah, there's times though when there's the want, and in my case, it has given me the best practice to have boundaries and to
Hmm.
know my boundaries
Got it.
and to be able to have boundaries. And that's what it's all about is know your boundaries and just don't be scared to like live those boundaries because like, oh, I'm so scared I'm going to piss this person off or I'm going to hurt them. Well, here's the thing. That's not your I mean, your job in life is not to worry or care like that's not your problem. Your
Right.
problem is how are you going to feel? So
Right.
that's what I learned. That's what I've learned in the last couple of years is boundaries, and it's huge. I'd say boundaries is like the biggest like win in this lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah. Which also then I guess that's like rounding out the attachment, right? Because if you have boundaries, attachment's really hard with
It is.
boundaries.
It
Yeah.
is. And there has to be, and in order to do this though, you have to have desire. Like
Yes.
the desire has to be there. You have to have chemistry. It's you know, shout out to our retreat coming up here that is sold
That's
out and
right.
it's just online. So if people are interested, feel free, and we're wrapping up anyways, but hit us up, ginandtantra@gmail.com, or feel free to hit us up on the Instagram, the Gin and Tantra podcast, or like, comment, subscribe on wherever you're seeing this at. But yeah, you have to have desire in order to be engaged with someone. And if you find someone who has desire for you as well, it's intoxicating. It should be. This is the
Yes.
most, you know, this is the most, like, I don't want to say powerful, but it is it is a very powerful thing. You know what I mean? I read this earlier, and it said that from this I think he's an author, Francesco Alberoni. He's Italian. It says
Hmm.
falling in love rearranges all of our priorities, throws the superfluous overboard, projects a glaring light onto what is superficial, and instantly discards it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Oh my God, that's so lovely.
Yeah, and I think
I
it's
love,
true.
and it's so true
Yeah, yeah,
because it does. when we like fall in lust or love or whatever that first thing is, it really like we are very open to I mean, I'm very open to changing a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Like I have to be up at 4 a.m., but I'll stay out with you till 11. That's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, it's because the reflection is like, oh, that was great. I'm exhausted today. Whatever. It's fine.
but
I
I
can
know I'm walking around with my
exactly.
chest up in the air.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, totally, totally worth the expenditure.
King of the
Um,
castle, king of the
that's
castle.
right. That's right. Um, well, Phaedra, this was a good. I really enjoyed our conversation here. I thought we did pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
thanks for contributing. And we'll be back on again with you, and maybe at some point next month. So we'll,
In February, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we'll get that all
We'll figure
figured out.
that date out. I'll go
Yeah,
look at it now.
yeah, for sure. And for everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're trying to do our thing here. So, please like and share and whatever. This is definitely a passion project, but I hope that the fires of my desire ignite the local area, but not like LA. That's a tragedy out there. That's like so
Oh,
bad, anyways. So
yeah.
we wish the best for all suffering beings,
Yes. Praying for.
mental, physical, and emotional. And for
Mhm.
everybody listening and watching this podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. For Phaedra, this is Daniel. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.